Data from a new poll was released and the results do not look good for President Trump. We will tell you why. We remember a well-known Johnson County woman who recently died from health complications, and people say she left a legacy. And fire trucks, ambulances, and police cruisers set up to show their appreciation for one man in Pike County. We will tell you more.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:30 on Monday, March the 4th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning into Mountain News this morning. Well, it's a cold start to your Monday and to your week, and for some of you could be seeing snow, and for other of you flurry, and for some of you nothing. But that's why we pay Brandon the big bucks to spread it all out and figure everything out for us.
Will, you're not supposed to tell lies on television. Okay?
I'm sorry. Couldn't resist.
But you're right. We are seeing again the possibility of a little bit of everything this morning, and including some slick roads with those cold temperatures. Let's take a look at the satellite radar for the last 6 hours here, and not too much at first, but you see as we get closer to the morning hours, a little bit of snowflakes, flurries, maybe even a brief snow shower trying to fire up across parts of the region. You see the same there on Live Pinpoint Doppler radar. Very scattered though, and basically from Jackson down to the border end of Virginia. So just kind of keep that in mind as you travel. Again, slick roads, the main thing on the bypasses, the overpasses, and bridges this morning especially. Temperatures in the 20s area-wide, 23 now and more at the cold spot, 28 Jacksboro and Middlesboro, the warm spots across the state. Look off to our west. You see some of that purple. That means single digits. We don't want any of that. Looking at the almanac today, 32 is our forecast high. We average for 53 for this time of the year. Record high of 80 set back in 1992 at Jackson High. The rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All right, Brandon, we'll be back with you. Well, an anti-Muslim poster that was displayed at the West Virginia State Capitol caused outrage on the House floor and later an apology. Lauren Tallada reports.
I let my emotions overload my good sense.
Saturday's House floor session started with an apology.
Mr. Speaker, and to the members, I sincerely apologize for forcing that door open.
This from Delegate Mike Caputo, just one day after his fiery reaction to an anti-Muslim poster on display at the state capitol injured a doorkeeper as emotions ran high on both sides of the aisle.
When you see something that you disagree with, please don't respond in the way that I unfortunately saw with my own eyes.
Republicans calling on House Democrats to denounce Caputo's actions, as shown in this tweet from Delegate Caleb Hanna. Democrats expressing outrage over why this display was there in the first place.
We are better than this. This is completely intolerable. Nobody will stand for this hate.
Members of the Islamic Association making a statement of their own Saturday morning, joining delegates on the House floor.
Our neighbors joined us this morning to show their protest for hate speech, not the First Amendment, not freedom of speech, but the fine line between.
None of us have anything to do with the crime that was committed on 9/11. Every time there is an action, people going to relate us to that. We hated it, we condemned it. So for us to be connected to this heinous crime, it is absolutely a travesty.
The West Virginia Republican Party issued a statement on the matter, reading in part that it does not approve, condone, or support hate speech. Party reps say they were not aware of and did not approve the sign at the Capitol and immediately asked the exhibitor to remove the sign upon learning about it. It goes on to say, quote, "We have shown that when West Virginians are united, when we respect each other, embrace our differences, and focus on moving our state forward, what we can accomplish," end quote.
We are teachers, we are engineers, we are entrepreneurs, we contribute tremendously to this community, and we demand that we are treated just like any other American citizen.
Now, there is still no word on what, if any, repercussions Delegate Caputo may face. Meanwhile, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee says he plans to request documents Monday from more than 60 members of President Trump's administration, family, and business. Congressman Jerry Nadler claims Republicans shielded the president while they had the majority in the House.
We are going to initiate investigations into abuses of power, into corruption and into obstruction of justice.
Now, on the matter yesterday, the president wrote that after 2 years of presidential harassment, the only thing proven is the Democrats have broken the law. Meanwhile, a new NBC Wall Street Journal poll says only 4 in 10 voters say they would re-elect President Trump next year. 58% of those polled don't think he's been honest and truthful about the Russian probe, and 60% disapprove of his recent national emergency declaration to build a border wall. However, the president's job rating remains stable, with nearly 90% of Republicans approving of his job. Immigration rights groups are asking for Homeland Security to release at least 9 infants who are being detained by ICE in a letter to Homeland Security. Immigration rights organists say the facility in Dilley, Texas, where the infants are being detained, lacks adequate medical care. ICE did respond to these claims and said in a statement, ICE takes very seriously the health, safety, and welfare of those in our care. Well, some news out of the Middle East this morning. The last small piece of territory held by the Islamic State militants in Syria was covered in smoke yesterday. U.S.-backed fighters went after the area with airstrikes and guns. The militants fought back with snipers, booby traps, and suicide bombs. An unknown number of civilians are also holed up in the area. It is believed there are a few hundred of Islamic State members taking part in the battle. Well, on Thursday, a well-known face around Johnson County died from health complications. WYMT's Lauren McCourt sat down with family and friends who talked about the legacy Kathy Gullett left behind.
Eagles, if you attend any event at Johnson Central, you probably recognize this face. Kathy Gullett.
But she only retired from teaching. Her involvement with the school never stopped.
Those who knew Miss Gullett say she was always involved at the school.
Name one person you think of when you say the name Johnson Central, and the first name you're going to think of is Kathy Gullett.
And became everyone's biggest cheerleader.
She was always there for everything, whether it be school or family.
But you rarely saw Kathy without her biggest fan.
You never saw one without the other.
From coaching golf to keeping stats at basketball games, her husband was always the one by her side, cheering her on.
Kathy kept the scorebook, Nelson kept the score clock.
Supporting the county they love. Saturday night was the first big event at Johnson Central without those well-known cheers and smiles. When the boys basketball team won the regional championship, Kathy was on everyone's mind.
Can't help but think that our 15th region championship was for her.
Knowing this win would make her proud.
She wouldn't want us to be sad. She just wants to celebrate her life, and she wants us to live in the championship right now. Yeah. She'd be so proud.
And even though she is no longer on the sidelines,
she's just a great person, and it'll be a big loss. It really will.
Her legacy will remain forever. In Johnson County, Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
Kathy Gullett's funeral will be at 1 o'clock this afternoon in the gymnasium of Johnson Central High School. Well, many in Pikeville honored a local veteran yesterday. The local VFW set up at Texas Roadhouse to give 5-year veteran Landon Tackett a proper welcome home. Fire trucks, ambulances, and police cruisers set up to show their appreciation. Tackett had no idea any of this would happen. Jimmy Carter, City of Pikeville mayor, even gave Tackett a key to the city.
I just want to thank everybody that came. It's raining, the weather's horrible, and for people to stand here in the rain and be cold to support me, that's the greatest honor I could ever have.
All of us at WYMT thank Tackett for his service. Now he says he is planning to take some time off to allow his body and mind to recoup. Well deserved, of course. Officials with Texas Roadhouse say they are happy to help honor Tackett for his years of bravery. Well, a weekend fundraiser for Deputy Jamie Morales brought in close to $16,000. It was a youth basketball tournament in Scott County. The Georgetown Police Department and Scott County Sheriff's Office starred in the tournament. It was put on by the family it benefited last year. Levi Delimpo's cancer is now in remission. He and Morales sat front row and watched basketball together. Meanwhile, yesterday, first responders and others in Maine honored a fire captain killed in the line of duty. Berwick Fire Captain Joel Barnes died battling a fire in an apartment building Friday morning. Yesterday, a procession that traveled nearly 50 miles brought his body from New Hampshire to Maine. Maine's governor has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff during the day of the funeral, a date that has not yet been set. Well, it's 6:38. Let's send it over to Brandon on the weather wall as he continues our severe weather alert day coverage.
Yeah, we're continuing to watch. Maybe a few snow showers flying across the region this morning. Maybe snowflakes for a lot of folks, but you see it there showing up in the last few loops of the satellite radar composite. And you see it there. Those little blue snow showers shifting to the south. Seeing that on live pinpoint Doppler radar as well. Again, cold enough to accumulate if you can get enough of it. Last time I looked out the doors here at WYMT outside the studios, just flakes flying this morning and some cloudy skies as we continue to take our look across the region. 23 right now, Moorhead, 28 here in Hazard, 25 Pikeville, Logan, 28 Middlesboro, and Jacksboro, 26 in London. When you factor in the feels-like temperature, got a couple of sensors out there in the heart of the region, but it's teens and low 20s across most of the area. So max warming needed on that coffee meter, and the day planner shows we're not going to move a whole lot today, but those clouds should start to decrease as we get deeper into the afternoon. We get right around freezing. Will?
All righty, Brendan, thank you. Well, we will have stories that are trending on WYMT.com next. As always, thank you for joining us right here on Mountain News this morning. One community in the Deep South was hit hard by a tornado yesterday. We will have footage and updates for you coming up. But first, this man might just be the GOAT as he is now father to 8 goats. We will tell you more about him coming up.